Hello and welcome to week 2 of our 5-week financial workshop. I am Jay Harrison Patterson from Verity Investment, and I am so excited to have you all here. Welcome back to everyone who was here last week. This week we're talking all about debt, all things debt and debt management. I'm so excited for everything we have prepped for you guys. We have the incomparable Becky Iacopelli, who is a certified financial planner, super awesome, very knowledgeable. For everyone who was here last week, you saw her in action. She's got an amazing presentation ready for you guys. But look, don't forget, stick around. Becky's going to drop serious knowledge, but the best part is that you get to talk to her at the very, very end. She'll answer all of your questions directly, and don't even wait to the end. Go ahead. If you have questions just off the rip that come to mind, drop them in the chat box, and we'll be collecting those, and we'll address all of your questions at the end. So you definitely want to stick around for that. At this time, I'm going to introduce Becky. She's going to get us started, and we're going to start off with a poll question. So we're talking all about debt. We're going to get a little uncomfortable here, but we're going to start it off. Let's start it off with this question. How much credit card debt do you carry? None? $0 to $5,000, $5,000 to $10,000, $10,000 or above. So I'm going to give you guys just a little while to collect our answers here. Just answer honestly. We all have dealt with it. We all are dealing with it, right, Becky? This is this is why we're here, right? To talk about debt and how to manage it and get it under control. So giving you guys just a few more seconds to get your answers in. Oh, very nice. How are you doing today, Becky?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. So happy to get you guys moving on your financial goals. That's really what I'm here to do. I'll just introduce myself real briefly. I'm Rebecca Iacopelli. Like she mentioned, I'm a certified financial planner. I've been in the industry for around 7 years working with financial planning, wealth management, and tax as well. So I'm really happy to be a part of this financial fitness boot camp. Hopefully we work your way towards some financial goals and get some things worked out for you. And of course, I hope to work with you in terms of advisory capacity through my financial answers.
Yes. I told you guys she's awesome. All right. Here we go. Let's look at the results of our poll. Wow. So good. Most of you guys have no debt, 38%. That is awesome. Then some have a little under 5,000, a little bit more, 5,000 to 10,000, 23% of you, and 8% of you have $10,000 or more dollars in debt. So with that being said, Becky's going to take it away.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks so much. So welcome to the Financial Fitness Bootcamp. This is week 2, which is debt management and student loan forgiveness. So we hope you're able to turn in for last week's webinar. That was maximizing cash flow, and are well on your way in implementing those recommendations, building a budget, and finding ways to save for your future. So in this week's session, we will discuss some ways you can manage your debt, as well as review the student loan forgiveness programs that are available to you. So for anyone in debt, it can really feel like a heavy burden that weighs you down day in and day out as you worry about how much you owe and how you are going to pay it back. 1 in 10 adults say they carry a credit card balance of over $5,000. If you paid a minimum balance of $150 on a $5,000 balance with a 20% interest rate, you wouldn't pay off this debt for over 18 years, and you would have paid over $10,000 after all is said and done, as opposed to the $5,000 you originally owed. So high interest rates can creep up on you faster than a freight train and dig you in a seemingly ever-deepening hole. But what our goal is to stop this vicious cycle and bring you above water, able to conquer your debt and ultimately save for your future. So to do that, we are going to review 10 ways that you can manage your debt. First and foremost, the best way to manage debt, and really the only way to get out of debt, is to stop acquiring new debt. Hopefully you learned some helpful tips from the last webinar in terms of building a budget to be able to find ways to stop living over and above your means. But a key takeaway in the need to live below your income. If not, you will find yourself in an endless cycle of paying down debt and building new debt, paying thousands in interest, and not being able to save for your retirement. A great way to determine how your budget should be structured is by using the 50-30-20 rule. By following this, 50% of your income can be used for your needs, such as housing costs, transportation, insurance, groceries, and so on. 30% of your income can be used for wants. These are extras and the luxuries that we don't need, but of course we do want, such as eating out, drinks with friends, recreational activities, and so on. Lastly, 20% should be used for building your future. So that would mean saving for your emergency fund, paying off debt, and saving for retirement. The most important area to recognize and the hardest reality to face is the difference between our wants and our needs. This bleeds into our discussion about budgeting last week, but is worth reiterating as it is often the most difficult thing to do. So we don't need the luxury car, the expensive purse, or the fancy vacation. There are basic and even nice versions of these that are much less expensive and would not require us to incur any more debt. Ultimately, if you can't pay cash for it, you shouldn't be buying it. If you can't pay cash for it, then you can't afford it, which is pretty simple, but it's frustrating and difficult, of course. If you have room in your budget, by all means, save up for the purchase over time. Saving up will allow you to pay in cash when the time comes and stop you from going into debt. Patience and self-control, they're really the order of the day when it comes to putting this into practice, but you certainly will be thankful to not have the burden of debt as well as the high price to pay for it. Number 2, we want to make a list of your debts. This may seem basic, and you may think you are on top of your debts, but to gain a better perspective on your debt and to stay organized, it's important to make a list. You want to know how much you owe, to whom you owe it to, and at what interest rate. For credit cards specifically, the average credit card holder has at least 4 cards. You may have a few at different stores that you frequent, like Target, Ulta, or Macy's, some for travel rewards, and some for cash back. You may have cards you completely forgot that you have and may still be holding a balance. And pretty much 100% of clients I talk to do not know the interest rates on their credit cards. One of the most important pieces of information in order to start getting a handle on your debt is the interest rate, as it has an impact on what you should pay first. If you don't know it, take a look at your credit card statement. It will be listed on that statement. Take a statement from each credit card you have and write down the interest rates in your list. This will help us later in our discussion. You may also have auto loans, student loan debt, and a mortgage. We want to include these on our list of debts. And just as with credit cards, find out the interest rate and list it next to the balance. Once you have your list, you can sort it by one of 2 ways. Sort by highest interest rate or lowest amount of debt owed. We will see a little later the difference between the 2 methods of paying down debt, but the first step is making that list. One way to save money now and in the future is to make payments on time. Even if you are making the minimum payment on your credit card, pay this amount on time. This includes any other debts you have, such as auto loans and mortgages as well. Late fees will be slapped on top of the amount you owe if you are not paying on time. These certainly can add up. And not only will there be late fees, but on your credit cards, your interest rate will increase if you do not pay on time. We certainly don't want that happening. Another impact of not paying on time is a negative impact on your credit score. Credit scores can drop to the floor very quickly when payments are missed or balances go into collection. A bad credit score can set us up for a future steeped in further debt. If we have low credit scores, next time we need a car or a house, we will be paying sky-high interest rates. This could increase our payments significantly and make it that much more difficult to pay for our basic necessities. Our bills will add up, and we will need to incur further debt, plummeting us into a difficult hole to crawl out of. Credit scores also take a lot of time to build back up. A few on-time payments, that will not do the trick. Years of building credit can be ruined quite quickly, and it will take years to build back up. So staying on time with our payments is of utmost importance. With credit cards, you can often change the due date, and that way you can align the due date to be right after getting paid, which ensures you will have the funds to make the payment. Now let's discuss the difference between good debt and bad debt. Not all debt is bad, like the credit card debt we've been discussing. Good debts will include your mortgage, student loans, and auto loans. These debts increase your overall net worth. If you buy a $200,000 house and have a $160,000 mortgage, then your net worth is $40,000. Whereas in the case of bad debt, you have a credit card with $10,000, then your net worth is negative $10,000. There's no asset to back it up. These debts can also improve your credit score. It can build it up by showing you have multiple types of loans, which is a positive for your credit score. Good debt has significantly lower interest rates than bad debt. The importance of lower interest rates cannot be overemphasized. What this does is allow you to save for your retirement. Instead of paying extra towards your mortgage and auto loans, pay that extra to yourself by saving for retirement. If you're making 8% of the market and only paying 4% on your mortgage, then you are making an additional 4% by maintaining that loan and allowing for more money to go into retirement. On the other hand, if you are paying 20% on your credit card and making only 8% in the market, then you are behind 12%. This is often the case for bad debt. Bad debt includes credit cards and personal loans, and sometimes auto loans. There's a debate over whether auto loans are good or bad because they have both good and bad qualities. On one hand, your car depreciates quickly or decreases in value. But on the other hand, it allows you to get to work and increase your net worth by providing income, and interest rates can also be low with good credit. High interest rates on an auto loan would be a bad situation, but a poor credit score is likely the cause. Credit cards and personal loans add no value to your financial situation. They are the product of things that you could not afford and only decrease your overall net worth, hence them being bad debt. These types of debt we want to pay off as quickly as possible. The high interest rates are extremely costly and can extend our payments for years. So we want to pay extra towards these debts if possible, or get them into an interest rate range that is low so that we can get our money into retirement as well. Next, we'll get into how to pay off these debts and in what order. There are two different strategies for paying off debt, and it largely depends on the type of person that you are and what will motivate you to keep going. This is where keeping that list that we mentioned previously is so important. It is from this list of our debts that we can begin to conquer them one by one and do so with a method that fits us best. First, there is debt avalanche. This is the method of paying off debt that has the highest interest rate first. This is going to save you the most money in the long term due to the highest interest rate being cut down as quickly as possible. The highest interest rate debt, however, may not be your smallest debt. So it may make you feel like you are not having an impact because you still may have a few smaller debts out there that are easier to knock out and would make you feel a little bit more accomplished. So that's the basis of the debt snowball. In this strategy, you pay off the smallest balance debt first. This can help you stay motivated as it will knock things off your debt quicker and leave you with the large debt at the end. It's really personality that has an impact in which strategy you choose. If you realize the economic value of the debt avalanche and feel as if you can stay motivated regardless, then this is the one for you. It saves the most money, and that will be great for you in the long run. If, however, you have trouble sticking with the plan for paying off debts, you may want to choose debt snowball. It's more important that the debt is paid off than to lose steam. Let's look at the economic difference between the two strategies. So here we have a $15,000 balance with a 20% interest rate and a $10,000 balance with a 10% interest rate. And we're going to be paying $1,000 a month towards our debt. So if we went with the debt avalanche, we would be paying the $15,000 debt first because it has the highest interest rate. Doing so would leave us paying a total of $29,978 between the two, and do so in 2 years and 6 months. On the other hand, if we use the debt snowball method, we would be paying the $10,000 debt first because it's the smallest amount. In this case, we would pay a total between the two of $31,366, and this would be done in 2 years and 8 months. Not much difference between the two, only $1,388 and an additional 2 months, but it's still something. This is especially why it's a personality choice. Avalanche saves more money in the long run, but ultimately we want to start down a path that we are most likely to stick with. So start making your list of debts in the order you want to conquer them, and then get started with tackling that debt. An important area to keep an eye out when dealing with debt is your credit score. Oftentimes, being loaded down in debt and missing payments can put our credit score in free fall. And it is, as I mentioned before, it's a difficult road to get back into a reasonable number. But be patient because it can take a while to get your credit score ticking up. But sticking to a plan and following some tips can help us on that road. The benefit of improving your credit score is the low interest rates you can receive on future purchases or even refinances. If you want to consolidate debt, which we will discuss next, a good credit score will allow you to consolidate your debt at a low rate, making it much easier to free yourself of the debt and cost you significantly less money overall. First and foremost, make your payments on time. 35% of your score is attributable to payment history. One late payment can drop your score as much as 900 to 110 points for a score of 780 or higher, and these late payments can stay on your report for 7 years. Even one can drastically impact your score, so be sure to stick to your payment plan and even set your bills on automatic payment this way that it can't be missed. Next, 30% of your score is based on the balance versus the credit limit. It's called credit utilization. You should be only using under 30% of the credit limits available to you. So you can pay down the higher utilization cards first to see an improvement in your score. 50% of your score is based on the length of your credit history. The creditors want to see that you have been in the game for a while and that you are making payments on time over the course of your history. So get started as soon as possible with at least opening something simple like a department store credit card just to get you started. And don't close unused credit cards. Simply shred them and throw them away if you don't want to use them anymore. The period of time you've had your old cards helps your credit score. 10% of your score is based on the different account types that you have. So having an auto loan, a credit card, and a mortgage can help improve your score. This shows that you are responsible with your credit and managing multiple accounts. Lastly, 10% of your score is based on new credit inquiries. Keeping the number of inquiries down as close to zero as possible is ideal. Of course, sometimes you will need to have an inquiry if you are buying a car or a house, but signing up for multiple credit cards in a few months is not going to look good on your score. Overall, improving your credit score can open up new doors for your financial future. So keep in mind that it is faster to fall than it is to grow. So take it seriously and be very careful when it comes to damaging your credit. Now let's look into debt consolidation. This is a great place to start in order to lower your interest rate and make your debt payments more manageable. If you have a host of credit card or high interest auto loans, perhaps the best first step is to look into debt consolidation. The goal here is to lower your interest rate. A bad credit score may make it difficult to find a lower interest rate, so determine what your options are before making any decisions. Use the list of your debts to compare the interest rate options. With debt consolidation, all you have to focus on is one payment as opposed to the multiple you have with different cards and loans. This can help you to be more disciplined with making the payments in full and also making them on time. Given this benefit, it leads to another perk, which is a higher credit score. Being able to make your payments on time, given a lower interest rate and one payment, your credit score will tick higher. Ways that we can consolidate your debt include balance transfers, home equity loans, and personal loans. A balance transfer, that would be the first go-to if you qualify. A balance transfer offers 0% introductory rate for a period of time, typically 12 to 18 months. If you believe you can pay your debt down in this time frame, then this is perfect. The 0% interest rate is otherwise impossible to come by and certainly something to take advantage of. As with all debt consolidation, there is a fee that comes with a balance transfer, usually around 3% of your balance, but that pales in comparison to the 15 to 20% you're paying on your cards. Also available to consolidate your debt is a home equity loan. This will provide the next lowest interest rate available. With an average rate of 5%, you can take out equity from your home to pay down your other debts with higher interest rates. This payment will be in addition to your regular mortgage and is of utmost importance to be paying both on time and in full. The caveat to a home equity loan as a means of paying off your debt is that your house is used as collateral. Unlike balance transfers or personal loans that have no collateral, in the case of a home equity loan, your house could be put into foreclosure if you don't make the payments. So be certain you can afford the monthly payment before entering into a home equity loan. Lastly, there are personal loans. These have a higher interest rate, around 10% on average. These will allow for one payment as all the others and a fixed interest rate that will create a fixed payment easy to fit into your budget. If the interest rate you are offered is lower than your credit cards, then this is a possible option. Overall, compare your options to what you're paying now in interest based on the list of debts you have made, like we did in the slide before, and decide whether to begin the process of applying for debt consolidation. Another option when it comes to managing debt is refinancing. Interest rates are at historic lows at this point in time, making it an ideal time to refinance. You could consider refinancing your home or auto loans that may have had a high interest rate if purchased years ago when interest rates were higher. For example, on a $200,000 mortgage, lowering the interest rate from 6% to 3.5% can give you an extra $300 per month. Hence, benefits of refinancing include first and foremost, lowering your interest rate, lowering your payment, and the ability to extend the term if your budget is tight. Having a lower interest rate alone without extending the term can lower your payment, but additionally, you have the option to extend the term. Extending the term increases the amount of time you will pay for the loan, and with that also increases the cost of interest as you will be buying for a longer period of time. However, if you lower your costs on a low interest debt, you will have more in the budget to pay off higher interest debt, which would be beneficial. There are closing costs involved in refinancing, so it's important to calculate the cost to see if it's worth the difference in interest rates. Another option for paying off debt is a cash out refinance. Cash out refinances allow you to have a new mortgage in terms while tapping into the equity in your home and pulling out the cash. It is similar to a home equity loan that we talked about in that it provides cash, except that it typically has a lower interest rate and also is only one mortgage. A home equity loan is a separate payment, whereas a cash out refinance is redoing your regular mortgage. Of course, there is the same risk of foreclosure as home equity loans if you can't repay, unlike with credit cards. So it is most important to make sure that you are actually changed your habits and will not continue accruing debt before doing anything with your home. Next, we might have to make some difficult decisions if our debt is too much to bear. Those hard decisions include downsizing on our house or our cars. You may have bit off more than you can chew when it comes to your assets. It's never too late to make the jump and downsize to ensure you can afford your monthly expenses without going into debt. When it comes to calculating what is within the realm of reasonable for your cost of your assets, here are the standard guidelines. No more than 28% of your gross income, that would be the income before taxes and deductions, should be spent on your total housing costs. Housing costs would include your mortgage, the taxes, homeowners insurance, and private mortgage insurance, essentially what you pay in your mortgage each month. So let's say you make $4,000 per month. 28% of that would equal $1,120. Your total mortgage payment should be no more than this amount. Also to consider is your debt to income ratio. This is where no more than 36% of your gross income should be going towards your debt payments. This means that the same person making $4,000 a month should spend no more than $1,440 on debts. That leaves $320 if you maximize your housing cost percentage. So in this case, this person may need to lower their housing budget to like $900 to be able to fit in some more debt payments that they might have. A mortgage lender often uses this rule when determining how much house you can afford and how much they will let you borrow. But you need to be knowledgeable about your own finances because they have a bias towards wanting you to have maybe a higher mortgage than you should based on other debts you may have. So keeping auto payments low is also very important. The luxury car may not be the option for you if you want to stick within these guidelines. $320, which was what was left over for our $4,000 a month individual, is on average a low payment what I see was working with clients. So you may have to opt for the less expensive vehicle in order to be in a realm that is comfortable when it comes to cash flow. Driving the fancy car may be fun, but not being able to breathe when it comes to your cash flow is not very fun. So we want to be responsible with the debt that we incur and make the hard decisions if we need to trim back our expenses. So this may include downsizing. Finally, we want to be able to balance our debt payments and our savings. We might want to put all of our money towards our debt, but this is often not the best course of action depending on our situation. First and foremost, we want to save for our emergency fund. Typically, an emergency fund is 3 to 6 months of your expenses and protects you in the case of job loss, a medical expense, or a repair on your car. What this ultimately protects from is going into further debt because of an unexpected life occurrence. For many people who lost their jobs during COVID, an emergency fund would have gone a long way in keeping them afloat during these difficult times. So saving for an emergency fund is a great protection against deepening our debt, and we want to be sure to prioritize it. Next, we want to take a look into consolidating our high interest debt and lowering our interest rates. This can be done through balance transfers, personal loans, home equity loans, or even cash out refinances as we discussed before. Quickly lowering our interest rate is key to being able to manage our debt and actually afford the payments. If we lower our interest rates to a reasonable degree, we can start saving for our retirement. This is an important step in building our financial future and ensuring we have a happy, carefree retirement. Getting our debt under control is the first step to being able to do so. So take these steps as we discussed today and start addressing your debt from the source. Stop the bleeding by adjusting your lifestyle and budget, and then begin lowering the interest rate on your debt. Finding payments you can afford will allow you to start conquering your debt, building your retirement, and pulling yourself out of the negative and into the positive. Now let's briefly address a program available to you through the federal government for forgiveness of loans through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. This is available to public service employees who work in public schools, nonprofits, and government institutions. This is an amazing program that should certainly be taken advantage of, but in order to do so, it requires some discipline. The payoff at the end is well worth what the discipline payments are that need to be made, as the entire remaining balance of your loans will be completely forgiven, tax-free. In order to qualify for the program, you must have federal loans. Private loans will not qualify. And these loans must either be on an income-driven repayment plan, which is adjusted for how much you make, or on the 10-year standard repayment plan. The income-driven repayment plan is much more beneficial to you, and we will see why in the next slide. The program requires 10 years of payments to be made, or 120 monthly payments. These payments need to be paid on time and in the full amount that is set by your repayment program. During these 10 years of making the payments, you must be working full-time at a qualifying institution while you are making these payments. The problem is with this program that it is quite complex. It requires diligence, and the paperwork is often quite cumbersome. So, many borrowers enroll incorrectly and disqualify themselves from the program. Also, student loan servicers aren't very helpful when it comes to the advice because it's not in their best interest to have your loans forgiven. They want the income provided to them by holding your loans. So we work in affiliation with a company called Student Loan Tech that provides a full service completion of your paperwork for you so that you can ensure you are properly entered into the program and that you qualify. So we will provide a link in the follow-up email for you to reference Student Loan Tech. Now let's take a look at an example of a client who qualifies for the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program and what that looks like in terms of dollars and cents. In this case, they may have an income of $50,000, which will be used to determine the income-driven repayment plan's monthly amount. They have a total loan balance of $80,000 at 6% interest. On the 10-year standard repayment plan, they would be paying $888 per month. That's a steep payment for sure. However, under the income-driven repayment plan, they would be paying $254, a much more affordable payment, and one we can certainly strive to fit into the budget if we move some things around and perhaps make some cuts to others. Originally, they would have owed $106,579, including interest on the loans. However, with the income-driven repayment plan, they would only pay back $30,539 of that debt, and as a result, $76,000 would be forgiven. That is a large amount of debt. What could you do with $76,000 relieved for you? What you would hopefully choose to do would be invest these monthly payments that you no longer have to make into your retirement, building up a solid nest egg to live off of in your retirement years. Saving for yourself is no doubt a better option than paying back on student loans for the rest of your life. It's so important to get started early with signing up for this program and hopefully utilizing Student Loan Tech to do so to make sure you qualify and get started with making the qualifying payments as early as possible. So we want everyone to be relieved of as much debt burden as possible. This is one major way to get started in the process. So if we work with this program, in addition to all the other ways we discuss in paying down debt in the most cost-efficient manner, we are well on our way to crawling out of the hole of debt. So we hope you found this helpful and learned some insights that can help you on your journey to reducing your debt. We want you to have healthy retirements that aren't overshadowed by debt and result in stress-free living. Some adjustments may need to be made, but they are certainly worth your peace of mind and all the money that can be saved as a result of putting the actions into practice. One way to get started is to sign up for My Financial Answers. This is a financial planning tool available to you through your benefits program that allows you to build a financial plan for free and speak with an advisor to help you along the way. So we want you to sign up with the link provided in the follow-up email and get started taking steps towards financial freedom and success. So we thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you will join us next week for the presentation, Understanding Your Risk Score, which is a look into your investments and how you should be positioned in the market to achieve your goals. So now let's please stick around and we'll answer some questions for you.
Thank you so much, Becky. There was so much good information there. Very, very helpful. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up for questions for Becky. Any questions that you have, just go ahead and type those into the chat box, and Becky will answer them right here live. And we already have some really good questions coming in. So while we're waiting on more questions, what we're going to do is do a couple more poll questions. Here's a good one. This is just to kind of see, to gauge, see if you guys know where you are. What is your credit score? Is it below 670, 670 to 740, 741 to 850, or do you just not know? And we'll give you all just a few seconds. Also, don't forget to sign up for My Financial Answers, a very helpful tool in getting you to your financial goals. Having the advantage of an advisor like Becky that walks you through your own personal financial journey is immeasurable, and it's a wonderful benefit you have through GTCC. And we'll give you just a few more seconds. All right, here we go. What is your credit score? About half of you, all right, 741 to 850, good job. And a few of us just don't know. Becky, wouldn't you agree that just knowing where you stand with your credit score is just a very important part of the process in terms of your financial health?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's multiple ways that you can access your credit score. So there's various companies that will provide you with your credit score for free. And it doesn't tap into your credit score as an inquiry. It's just a free credit score report. Even signing up for mint.com, like I recommended in our cash flow seminar, they allow you to have a free credit score report every month. So in addition to tracking your budget and things like that, you also get a free credit score. So that's a great way to keep you on track with your budgets, with your cash flow, any goals you have, and also your credit score as well.
Oh, wow. I didn't know they did that. They should sign you up as a spokesperson.
Yeah, I am a spokesperson. I love it.
All right, and again, don't forget, I'm looking for your questions in the chat room, just giving everybody some time to get your questions out there. We're going to do one more poll question, then we'll head to the chat room. How much student loan debt do you carry? None, under 10,000, 10 to 50,000, 50 to 100,000, or 100,000 or more? What a benefit is that student loan forgiveness program for public servants?
Say that again.
I said, what a wonderful benefit the student loan forgiveness program is. Seeing that mapped out, wow. And what was the name of the company that you guys partner with that helps with that?
Yeah, so that would be Student Loan Tech. They have a cost, it's $750 to sign up, but they provide you with a complete service as a result of that payment. That's the only payment you will be making. and being able to possibly, like we had in the example, forgive like $76,000 of debt. 750 might seem a lot at first, but it's certainly worth it when it comes to making sure that you qualify so that that debt can be forgiven.
Yeah, I mean, 750 is nominal to pay to, wipe off $76,000 worth of debt or more.
Yeah, I've
That's
seen a lot
amazing.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to make sure it's done correctly, it's very important. All
Yeah,
right, let's go back
it's a
to the
complicated
poll.
program, so it certainly is better to make sure that you are with an organization that knows how to get you to qualify.
Absolutely, definitely. All right. So we have a tie between none and $50,000 to $100,000, and then everyone else falls somewhere between there. So we're spread a little bit on the student loan debt, but also, Becky, in managing that debt, working through my financial answers, you help clients to balance and pay off that student loan debt quicker, right?
Yeah, absolutely. What we're going to do with my financial answers, if you sign up, is we'll take a look at all your debts, we'll take a look at all the interest rates, and we'll come up with a debt management strategy for you that'll help you pay it off quicker and choose the ones that are best to pay off first.
Also, just another reason to sign up for my financial answers. And you can also sign up to talk to Becky one-on-one. So we do have some great questions in the chat box, but in the link that with the replay of this video, in the email with the replay of this video, in addition to the link to my financial answers, you'll also get a link to jump on Becky's calendar where you can talk to her and get a one-on-one consultation. And again, that's a benefit brought to you by GTCC, so definitely take advantage of that. And now we're going to go to the questions. Okay, here's a good one. Is there a financial benefit from financing my 3.25% 30-year fixed mortgage to a 15-year mortgage, depending on the new interest rate?
Yeah, absolutely. If you can swing paying a 15-year mortgage, that's going to increase your monthly payment. But if you can do that, you're going to actually experience a lower interest rates because there's lower interest rates available for 15 years than in contrast to 30 years. So I would definitely try to swing that if you can, make the monthly payment, because then it'll be paid off in 15 years, and that's just all the more cash flow that you're going to have later on in life.
Definitely, definitely. And okay, so the link to redo the school loan, this is another question. Do they sign up for my financial answers to get access to Student Tech?
So there'll be a separate calendar link that you can make with me. That'll be a student loan eligibility discussion. So we'll take, about 15 to 30 minutes of your time, and we'll just go over whether or not you're eligible. And then from there, you'll get a reach out from Student Loan Tech to see if you want to move forward with the program. So that's separate from the financial plan review.
Okay. So in the email that they'll get following after this webinar, they just need to jump on your calendar to talk about it, right?
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Perfect. All right, so I hope that cleared up that confusion. What if you try to get the student forgiveness and have already been paying for 5 years and didn't know when hired at the college?
Yeah, so the payments that you have been making already, they still qualify for the program. So if you've made 5 years of payments, you've made them on time and you've made them in full, and you were working for the qualified organization, then those payments would still count for you. So I would definitely get started with the program to qualify you so that you can include those 5 years of payments, and all you would have left would be an additional 5 years. But in terms of finding out your hiring date, I would just contact your HR. They'll be able to tell you when you were hired, and so you can see how many qualifying payments you have made based on the date you were hired at the qualified institution.
Okay, yeah, so it just, if any doubt about whether you qualify, schedule a time to talk to Becky and she'll walk you through at least the initial qualifications and clear any questions or doubt up for you, okay? Here's another question. We're talking about Mint. Is that a monthly budget, or is there a budgeting tool that lets you alter the dates to do a bi-weekly budget? Is Mint only monthly?
Yeah, so it is a monthly budget. So it'll show up, it'll come up with all your payments that you've made, and it'll put it into a monthly budget. You cannot separate that by bi-weekly. You can do that on your own in terms of making an Excel file or something like that to manage your bi-weekly, or you can just double the amount and make it into a monthly budget.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Probably just a good idea to, jump. It's a free app, right, Becky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So jump in and play around with it and see if it'll work for you. Yes, the recording will be sent to everyone enrolled. And if anyone had issues, I know we had a few people that had problems getting it last week, just email us and we will make sure that you get that, okay? So we apologize to anybody. There's a lot of people doing these recordings and webinars right now, so there have been some technical difficulties, but we will get it to you, okay? Just let us know. Okay. Again, here we have a question about qualifying for the student loan forgiveness. Someone says that the loan provider told them that they didn't qualify. What do you think about that, Becky?
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily trust your loan provider. They might not, the person that you talk to just might not know what they're talking about. So it's such an important program, and it's certainly, if you do qualify, you don't want to miss out on it because somebody might have misdirected you.
Yeah.
So I would just come to me, schedule an appointment with me. We'll just take a little bit of your time. We'll go through it together, and we'll find out if you are actually qualified. So maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, but I would want to make sure with me so that we can say one way or the other.
Yeah, and I'm going to guess if I were the loan provider, I'm going to err on, no, you probably don't qualify. If $76,000 is, in the air. So yeah, definitely jump on a call with Becky and, and just see what you find. And just another clarifying question about the student loan forgiveness. Does that 10 years have to be with the same nonprofit, or just any nonprofit organization?
Yeah, so any nonprofit organization. So as long as you are working for one, even if you change from one to the other and you are making payments during that time, those would both qualify for you.
Okay, and what if there was a period like it was interrupted? Maybe you went to go work for a for-profit and then went back to.
So they don't need to be consecutive payments. So any payments that you've made at any time for a qualifying institution would count towards your public service loan forgiveness.
Okay. And again, if anybody's, if I'm going to go between the loan provider and and Becky, I'm going to trust Becky. So I would encourage all of you to schedule a time to talk to Becky. And that was all the questions that we had. So I thank you all for coming. Thank you, GTCC, for allowing us to do this for you all. And Becky, thank you again for your immense knowledge, so valuable. Again, to everyone, you will receive an email with a replay of this webinar and the links to get on Becky's calendar and to sign up for My Financial Answers. Very important. Thank you all for joining us today. We really enjoyed bringing you this workshop, and we'll see you again next week, same time, same place. All right? Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.